guest says further elaborations made on the alleged involvement of certain Congress officials led to investor dismay on Tuesday. Well, with us now for more is Philstocks Financials Research Manager Japhet Tantiangco. Good to have you back, Japhet. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ma'am Kathy, and thank you very much for inviting me.
So what exactly in the Senate hearing dismayed the investors on Tuesday that pummeled the markets by 1.5%?
Well, with respect to the Senate hearing yesterday, I mean we've heard elaborations. I mean, number one, again, we heard the Congress officials which are allegedly involved in the said corruption issues. We also heard somehow the depth, how much we are talking about here. But at the same time, investors are also, are also wondering. I mean, how far is this going to go? There's still a lot of uncertainties, like how many more officials are involved. How many more officials are involved? I mean, we've heard the statement that originally there are 6 senators that are supposedly involved in this issue. At the same time, how much has been taken away from the public funds, and ultimately, how far? Ultimately, will this stop? Will the corruption cases or will the corruption issues stop? Or if not stop, will be greatly mitigated after the things that we are seeing right now. I think that's the main worry of investors, because if this goes on, if the corruption issues in the country will just continue, then it will cost our economy a lot. And that is something that we are trying to avoid as much as possible, given that we are already experiencing slow growth. And so that's what investors really want to know. That's the bottom line for the investor.
Well, let's put it into context, Japhet. From the State of the Nation address, let's pull up this chart here and just show how much of that uncertainty is really driven down risk appetites. PSEI down by 1.8%, and the peso slightly weaker versus the dollar as well since the president's SONA. That was last July 28. Reason why we have that vortex there. When he called out the corrupt and vowed to investigate and punish even allies. Is there any silver lining that you're seeing in this narrative that's inspired since from SONA to Sumbong sa Pangulo website to the investigations to the Sunday protest rallies?
I believe what investors would really want to hear is, a strong, or what investors would really want to see is a strong resolution with respect to the corruption issues that we are facing right now. I mean, of course, number one, we should see the accountability. We should see accountability here. Number two, as much as possible, the money that was taken away from public funds, it should be returned, so that it could be used for fiscal policies moving forward that could reaccelerate growth. And of course, finally, we need to see reforms in order to avoid such issues moving forward, so that we can ensure the effectiveness of our fiscal policies. I think that's what investors would really want to see moving forward.
And picking up on what you said about what it's costing the economy, have you done up the numbers? Because local economic growth is projected to remain at the lower end of the government's 5.5% and 6.5% target, but that was before the investigation started.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yes, but right now, given the corruption issues that we are seeing, I mean, if this continues, of course, then there's a possibility that, of course, it will still somehow, it will still dent on the local economy, particularly on the government spending part, which of course, I mean, that's one of the things that's pushing the local economy up. It's our government spending. And so if the corruption issues continue, it will further slow down government spending some way, somehow. And that in turn would, of course, could further slow down local economic growth.
All right. Well, thank you so much for putting everything into context for us.
To add.
Yes, Japhet Tantiangco, Philstocks Financial. I much appreciate your views.